Investors in this region also assessing election victories to ruling parties in Japan and Thailand. The yen in focus, with Japan's LDP securing a lower house supermajority, setting the stage for further fiscal stimulus from Prime Minister Takaichi.
Take a look at how Japanese assets are setting up after that resounding victory by Prime Minister Takaichi and her party. You can see Nikkei futures pointing to the upside of more than 2%. But the topics had already reached a record high, and you can see Nikkei futures pointing to the upside. And we'll be watching some of those sectors that are in Takaichi's investment agenda. We're talking about defense, we're talking about nuclear, and of course, JGB yields very important given the fiscal concerns that also continue here in Japan, April. Turn to our top story because Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi has secured a historic election victory, positioning her as the nation's strongest leader of the post-war era. It's an outcome set to embolden Takaichi and could fuel market volatility on speculation surrounding further fiscal spending. Bloomberg senior editor Brian Fowler joins us for more on this. And what a victory, given especially, I was thinking yesterday with the heavy snowfall, the turnout could be a bit low, but look at these numbers.
Yeah, it is historic, Sherry. I mean, 6 months ago, the LDP was completely on the ropes. It had lost its majorities in both houses of parliament and was muddling through the summer. And then Takaichi becomes the nation's first ever female prime minister in October. 4 months later, she secured the greatest election victory in the history, certainly in the post-war history. And she's going to become that much more assertive, I think, on the international stage, as well as domestically. We're going to have to see what she does with fiscal policy. That's what markets are waiting to see. And I think the reaction from markets is going to be a really interesting thing, because she's not going to have any opposition within her party, but she has to watch markets.
We want to get to the markets, but for me, it was also interesting to see the turnaround, because you mentioned October, and she was struggling to just get the votes in order to become prime minister. And look at what happened now. So what changed?
Well, I think she did a great job selling her story. I mean, she's established herself as somebody who works very hard. She's everything she's achieved, she's done on her own. She's not coming from a family of, politicians like a lot of other politicians. And she's gotten things done very quickly. So I think she really captured the imagination of voters, as this is someone who really can lead us at a time when the global stage is looking a little bit fraught with tensions. U.S. is not such a reliable partner as it has been in the past. China is becoming more assertive. North Korea is always a bit of a problem. So I think she really captured the imagination of voters as this is a leader we can really get behind. She's not going to let us down. That's my sense.
Let's actually take a look at the implications of the vote. I want to hear the reaction from businesses, what this resounding victory by the Prime Minister will mean when it comes to operating here in Japan.
Well, I think for foreign businesses operating in Japan, this is fundamentally good news in the sense that Takaichi has dedicated herself to re-energizing the Japanese economy with what she has termed responsible but proactive fiscal policy. And that is, we've seen in her first 3 months efforts to pursue this agenda, but those have been constrained greatly by the lack of a majority in either house of the Diet. With this very resounding victory in the lower house of the Diet, she now has the opportunity to forge ahead with her real program, and hopefully that will result in further economic growth in Japan and perhaps a more far-sighted vision about where Japan needs to go in the future.
Some of that program that she wants to carry out is also a good relationship with the U.S. and implementing the U.S.-Japan trade deal. How much of a boost did she get in her negotiation and in her dealing with President Trump? She's expected to meet him in March as well.
That's right. Well, she starts off with a great relationship with President Trump. I mean, when she met him last October, they had tremendous chemistry. But what she lacked was political power. I mean, she was in a very tough situation at that time. That has completely changed. And now she approaches Trump not only with good chemistry, but a lot of political muscle. And I think he's going to respect that. But it also could increase expectations from the White House for her to be able to deliver on the trade deal, to be able to deliver on defense spending. And so that could put a bit more pressure on her. But overall, she's in a much better position when she visits the White House next month, and I'm sure she's going to start to turn her focus to that.
Yeah, in fact, President Trump now has congratulated the Prime Minister, saying that she's a very strong leader and, of course, really pointing to her landslide victory, saying that she's a highly respected and very popular leader of Japan, and Japan will always have his strong support. Avril, really strong words coming from the president just a few minutes ago.
When it comes to how Japan and Takaichi-san, coming from a position of strength, now perhaps views the U.S. at a time where some of its security alliances, including with NATO, look a bit shaky.
Well, I mean, look, she wants to do what Trump wants Japan to do, and that is to spend more money on defense. And so I think they're aligned on that. I think she's already proven that she takes Japan's defense very seriously. She's moved up defense spending. She accelerated it, brought it up earlier than scheduled to 2% of GDP by the end of this fiscal year. I expect she will continue to push on that. She started the review of many national security documents. So I think the trajectory that she is on right now is something that the White House will welcome, and she'll be able to sit at the table with President Trump and say, look, Japan takes its own defense really seriously.